This depicts the post-impact damage to the rear of the Lexus. Rear window is completely shattered.
Destruction! During this portion of the testimony, every single juror was pretty much writing stuff down. Everyone was captivated. There is a complete disconnect, folks, between the cyberspace that Brennan lives in and reality. And there it is. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Buckle Up. It's the Law with Attorney Larry Forman. Folks, today we're going to conclude Dr. Wolf's testimony, and let me tell you, folks, today is the best part. The best part. Why? Because the jury was eating this stuff up. Even the reporters in the courtroom were in agreement with me that during this portion of the testimony, every single juror was pretty much writing stuff down. Everyone was captivated. Why? Because now you have the full-blown dummies. Crash tests E and F as in Frank are both going to happen right here, right now, on my channel. Let's watch. Oh, and before I forget, if you have not checked out our members-only content, go check it out. Membership started at 99 cents for an intern, and so you can check out all of the content that we have under the paywall. And most of it is going to be Diddy at this juncture.
24-mile-an-hour impact test. What is that?
So this is a 24-mile-an-hour impact test to the ATD arm attached to a test dummy.
Next slide, please. Why did you utilize 24 miles an hour for this test?
So it's my understanding that this is the upper end. There is a triggering event of, I believe it's 1162.2, and I think at the end of that data, the speed is approximately 24 miles per hour. So we did a test at the end point, if you will, in that data set.
What is this photograph showing in terms of the orientation of the arm and the hybrid test dummy, or ATD?
So the orientation is to depict, again, the orientation that Dr. Welcher indicated in his static and dynamic test to show what happens when again, that ATD arm that we had is attached to a test dummy and is struck at 24 miles per hour.
Next slide, please. And what is this?
So this is a thermal image of the taillights just after the install with the average temperature at about just over 33 degrees Fahrenheit.
Next slide. And what are we looking at?
So you're looking at a top-down drone video with the Lexus here on the left that will accelerate in reverse up to 24 miles an hour, striking the ATD arm.
Let's watch that, please. Next slide. What are we looking at in this slide?
So this is a top-down video from atop of the forklift, or where the arm is suspended attached to the dummy. So you're going to see the vehicle enter from the bottom into going to the top of the screen.
By the way, for the record, Brennan is such a gaslighter. He tried during his cross-examination, which, like I already said, we're not going to do because it's boring and it contributes absolutely nothing other than just making fun of Brennan. And it's fun, sure, but it's a waste of your time. And I summarized basically his 2 hours of cross-examination in 4 minutes in one of the videos that I've done, either the first, or no, not the first. It was like either the second or the third Dr. Wolf video for sure. So if you missed it, go check it out. But essentially, he tried to, like, I remember Brennan tried to pinpoint how, like, the feet were positioned. You see, like, he's clearly standing with his feet, like, a little mangled because it's a dummy. It's not a human being. You would not use a real human for experimentation purposes. That's just cruel. You would break arms. You send people to the hospital. You know what I mean? You would possibly even kill somebody doing these experiments. But and you might be thinking, like, Larry, did you just admit that Karen could have killed him? Well, of course she could have, theoretically, if the back of her Lexus SUV had like a missing, like an entire dent in it that she hit a person. I've been saying that from the first day I interviewed Turtle Boy in September of 2023 when he came on my channel when I was in Poland. I was like, can you show me a video? Oh, excuse me. Can you show me a photo of what the SUV looked like? And I looked at it and I was like, this did not hit a person. The first words out of my mouth, the minute I laid eyes on it, this did not hit a person. I've been saying that. Everybody's been saying that. Nobody has not been saying it except for Brennan and Bev and the liar for hire they got, Welcher. That's it. It's like he was hanging on. Brennan was hanging on to like completely irrelevant pieces of information, trying to gaslight, Jackson and the jury, and it failed miserably. It failed so hard. The jury was I'm telling you, that's when I locked eyes with one of them, and I was just like, what is it? And we were like, oh, you're thinking the same thing I am? Oh, yes, I am. Oh, yes, me too. It's like, oh, God. It was so bad. Watch this. Watch what happens during impact. Watch this. In this one, he just spins. The crash test dummy. Now
Next slide.
Let's look at the damage.
What is this view?
It's just another perspective. This is a slow motion video where you'll see the Lexus in reverse. I think this one actually has kind of a long build up before it starts here.
I don't know why they started the slow motion video so far behind, because now we're literally just sitting there like, okay, here it comes. Here it comes. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Just gives me more time to talk to you guys.
And could we go to the next slide, please? And what is this?
So this is a perspective from the high-speed camera, so a slow-motion video with the Lexus reversing into the ATD arm at 24 miles per hour.
Before you play this, Dr. Wolf, I failed to ask this. It may be obvious. After each of the tests, C, D, E, F, were you replacing the taillight with new exemplar taillights that had been temperature accounted for?
Yes, every test had a new set of quarter panel taillights, as well as liftgate taillights. And even in the test where the taillight in the 50-mile-an-hour test where the taillight was not damaged, we still put on new taillights. We did not repurpose or reuse any of the taillights.
Okay, thank you. If you could play this for
That's
us, please.
very important, because if you would be reusing them, you would be using taillights that have already been previously damaged in a previous experiment to a lesser degree, greater degree. You need fresh material. That's a very important question. I'm glad that Jackson asked it. The jury needed to hear that to understand it. I mean, it's obvious, but it needs to be heard. It needs to be said. And this would have probably broken several bones, by the way, and dislocated the shoulder. It would have probably shattered the arm. And none of this happened.
Next slide. In this configuration, was the ATD outfitted with the hoodie that you've earlier described?
Yes.
At the time you outfitted the ATD with the hoodie in this configuration before this test E, did you confirm that the sleeve, the right sleeve, was damaged or undamaged?
After this test?
No, before.
Before, it was undamaged before the test.
Okay. What are we looking at in this slide?
So this is still frames from the high speed. So starting out on the left here, just at contact. So the forearm making contact with the liftgate taillight, and then the upper part of the forearm and the elbow making contact, a direct hit into the quarter panel taillight. And the middle here is just after contact, and on the right is post contact.
Thank you. Next slide, please. What are we looking at in this video, or in this picture?
So this is a overall photograph depicting the taillights subsequent to this test at 24 miles per hour. I will note that there's no damage to the liftgate taillight, and then there is damage to the quarter panel taillight.
Is there any damage to the internal diffusers on this taillight?
So if I go to the next photograph, if I may.
Please.
So you can see here there is this kind of thicker, it's actually not a crack. So I'm looking at the clear diffuser here with the dots that you see. This line that you see, kind of opaque. I don't know if you've got a laser pointer to.
Donna, may I?
Yes.
Just so there's no confusion, thank you. So the line right here that's part of the assembly. So that's just a part of how the plastic is molded. There's a very small crack right here in the underlying diffuser, but all of the remaining part of the diffuser in terms of this portion here and here are all intact, and same with this portion of it.
What about the chrome piece that's running between the diffusers?
I don't believe that was damaged during this test, no.
And what about the clear acrylic toward the top left of that taillight housing?
It was partially fractured, but not the entire outer portion of it.
Next slide, please. What is this depicting?
So this is a photograph depicting the quarter panel taillight subsequent to the 24-mile-an-hour impact test with the ATD arm compared.
I bet Brian Albert, Jennifer McCabe, and former disgraced Trooper Proctor didn't see these experiments coming, did they? Boom shakalaka!
To that of the subject taillight.
Based on this test, were you able to reach any opinions and conclusions as to whether the damage to the subject taillight is consistent with striking John O'Keefe's arm at 24 miles an hour?
Sustained in that form.
Were you able to reach any opinions or conclusions as to whether the damage to the subject taillight is consistent with striking an arm at 24 miles per hour?
Based upon the test results, it's inconsistent with striking an arm.
Why do you, on what do you base that opinion?
I base it upon the test results that I've shown in terms of the video and the data acquisition.
Can you describe that in a little bit more detail?
So during this test, we had the instrumented hybrid arm outstretched from the test dummy with the accelerometer on the hand and the forearm. We had data acquisition on the vehicle, monitoring the speeds of the vehicle.
You see how Bev is just like, I'm just writing stuff down. I don't care about this testimony. She was not like that when Brennan was up there. I'm just reminding you one more time. When Brennan was up there, she's just like, She's like watching, Wimbledon freaking tennis match. Here, she's just like, I have better things to do. My daughter's homework, my daughter's math homework. I'll just take care of that right now, right here. It's crazy, just absolutely crazy.
Accelerated that vehicle into the arm at 24 miles an hour to conduct a dynamic impact test to collect data certainly about the acceleration that the arm experienced, but then also make observations about the damage that we observed to the taillight.
Do you hold that opinion that we've just discussed to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty?
Yes.
And were your tests conducted in accordance with methodologies that are generally accepted in the field of accident reconstruction in this particular test cycle?
Yes.
Next slide, please. What are we looking at in this series of photos?
So these are photographs depicting, the test clothing. Again, prior to the test, there were no holes or damage to the sweatshirt. That was the same post-test. We did not see make any observations with respect to any fraying, holes, punctures to the material of the sleeve.
I bit him.
Is there any damage whatsoever observed on the right sleeve of that ATD?
No.
Next slide, please. What are we looking at in terms of this graph?
So what you're looking at in this graph is the acceleration of the hand reaching a peak acceleration just after 10 milliseconds of approximately 435 Gs.
Next slide. What are we looking at here?
This is the acceleration of the arm during this 24-mile-an-hour impact test, reaching peak Gs of about 300 at 4 milliseconds.
And the next slide. What is this delta V graph showing us?
So this is showing the change in speed of the hand as a result of the impact, ultimately getting up to approximately 24 miles an hour, which again is the impact velocity of the Lexus.
And how fast did it get up to 24 miles an hour?
In probably about 10 milliseconds or less.
Next slide, please. And what is this delta V showing us?
This is showing the change in speed of the arm going to about just over, looks like about 22 miles per hour at about 10 milliseconds. So total window of time of about 8 milliseconds that it took to get up to that 22 mile an hour speed or so.
Understood. And next slide, please.
Here we go.
Did you undertake
The final
by the way,
test.
Another question on that. When the
one that
ATD
ended up destroying the SUV completely. This is exactly what, when I spoke to Turtle Boy the first time, I was anticipating a photo with an SUV that's just completely shattered. I would be like, yeah, she did it, obviously. You'll see what I mean. Just watch. Just watch this.
was oriented in
Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe.
Echo, where it was standing with its right arm out, and the impact was on the right arm. What happened to the mass of the body of the AT?
It rotated.
Was it projected at all off to the side?
No,
Was it projected rearward?
no.
Was that rotation expected based on your experience?
Yes.
What is the 29 mile an hour impact test in test F?
So this was a test that we conducted with a what's known as a rescue Randy or a test dummy that was a full-on impact to the right rear corner of the Lexus.
Let's take a look at the next slide, please. With regard to test E, if I could please ask you about that. I want to go back to that test, even though we're looking at this one. With test E, was that reflective of a direct impact on the arm itself,
Correct, right in the area of the elbow to the quarter panel taillight.
as opposed to a side swipe on the arm?
Correct, yes.
Thank you. Did you undertake to test a direct impact on the body of the ATD in this test?
Of the rescue Randy dummy?
Yes.
Yes.
What are we looking at here?
So this is the intended impact configuration.
Watch this.
With the
This is amazing.
rescue Randy suspended here by the forklift, and again, kind of in the path of the profile at that right rear corner.
This
How much-
is what you would anticipate in a vehicle versus pedestrian accident. Watch this.
Does this test dummy weigh?
Approximately 200 pounds.
Next slide, please. What are we looking at in this photograph?
So this is a video. We had a little bit of a false start, so our high speeds weren't triggered, but thankfully we were able to pull our surveillance video to get at least an overall video of the test taking place.
Do you have, well, let me ask you that did you intend to have high-speed video just like you've had in every other test?
Yes.
What went wrong? Something
Just
didn't get clicked?
miscommunication between the driver and the rest of the test engineers.
Got it.
So false start.
Okay. Was the taillight housing reassembled for this test?
Yes, it had a preconditioned new set of taillights on it.
And other than the taillight being damaged several times that we've seen, was there any other damage to the rear of that exemplar vehicle?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. Other than the taillight damage that you rotated through in your testing, C through F, was there any other inherent damage to the the lift gate that existed when the exemplar vehicle was received by you?
When it was received, no, it was in good condition. No defects or damage were noted.
Okay.
And that's
What are we gonna?
very important because, as you will see in just a moment, hey, if a 6,000-pound Lexus SUV were to crash into a human, how would the Lexus look afterwards? Dr. Wolf, you're up. What would happen?
Expect to see in this video?
So in this video, you'll see in the surveillance video, the Lexus will come from the right to left, strike the rescue Randy, and then you'll see the rescue Randy projected and slide on the ground.
Okay. Can you play that one more time, please? Next slide, please. What are we looking at in this series of photographs?
So this is a extract from our VBox software and data acquisition system. So on the top, you'll see the video. On the bottom is the data. So this is another feed that we had of video. This was triggered, so we do have data from this perspective. So what you'll see is my colleague will move away from the assembly with the dry ice, and then the vehicle will accelerate in reverse.
That was my question. The blue, that's dry ice. Gloves?
You can't, you don't want to touch dry ice with your bare hands. So
Okay.
it's, he's wearing gloves. He's capturing the thermal images now.
I kind of like this view, actually, a little bit better than the high-speed cameras. I'm not going to lie. I have my own personal affinity for this. And there was 29. He accelerated to 30 and then dropped, right before impact, dropped 1 mile an hour.
Next slide, please. And what are we looking at in this?
So these are extracted frames from that video you just saw from the data acquisition system. So on the left here is just before contact between the test dummy and the Lexus. On the right is just at contact.
Now watch what happened to the SUV.
Next slide, please.
Look at this. Look at that.
And what are we seeing?
Look
in
at the
these series of
glass.
photos?
Just
So this
shattering.
is obviously during the collision sequence. The body now has loaded into the lift gate and the back window. What you're seeing here is the back window shattering. And this is just a few split second later in time where, again, the body is continuing to move with the vehicle as it's
Obliterated.
Next slide.
The rescue Randy. Look at this. Look at that damage, folks. Look at the back of this Lexus SUV. Look at it. Look at it. It is mangled. It is destroyed. The glass, the weakest link, the weakest part of this whole thing would shatter first. The metal bent. The plastic actually on the lift gate obliterated, but the plastic on the taillight just stayed intact. Why? Because it was plucked by Proctor and Buchanan. That's why.
And what is this?
Incontroverted proof!
This depicts the post-impact damage to the rear of the Lexus. As I noted, the rear window is completely shattered. There's deformation and crush
Deformation!
to the liftgate
Crush!
section of the vehicle. The bumper step was popped out, and then there was
Popped
some minor fracturing in the bumper cover at the lower level.
Destruction!
Did you note
Complete,
anything regarding the
complete and utter destruction.
internal components of the exemplar taillight, even at this direct impact?
So the taillight,
Look at the
as you
taillight!
can see, it blew out the outer lens cover. I believe the part of the clear diffusers were actually still in place. I think the lower one might have been fractured here, but I think the upper one was still in place.
I can't. I can't.
At 29 miles an hour with a direct impact, did the exemplar taillight exhibit the same type of damage to the diffuser as the subject taillight?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
More or less damage in this photo to the diffuser specifically than in the subject taillight?
Well, I think there was more in the subject tail light. As I mentioned, I believe the top diffuser
More
on this
damage?
was correct.
Okay.
More damage! More damage to the actual headlight from Karen Reed's SUV than at a 29 miles per hour destruction phase of the test SUV. There is a complete disconnect, folks, between the cyberspace that Brennan lives in and reality. And there it is.
Question. And is there another slide at the on the back end of this one?
That's it.
Okay. We can have the lights.
That's it for Dr. Wolf. We are probably in the middle of deliberations as this video is being recorded a little bit ahead of schedule, obviously. I'm just premiering them as I want you guys to have content because I know you're starving for it, especially since we're probably still waiting on the jury to render a verdict in the case. And yeah, I'm very excited to see what they're going to decide and if we're going to have another hung jury. Like I'm predicting, again, I'm predicting 100% hung jury. There's an 80% chance we get a triple not guilty, and there's a 0.0000% chance we get a triple guilty. End of story, folks. I will see you on the next one. Bye.